Today would be lesson 19 in the instructional videos of Master Kuo Lien Ying's original Guanping Taiji form. If you're a beginner and you've gotten to this point learning through the lessons that I've been presenting, congratulations, you've gotten really far into the form. And today's lesson will be fairly easy because we'll be repeating a move that you already know. And then we have one more move. Golden cock stands on one leg. Actually, technically two moves because you have single whip, drop down into golden cock stands on one leg. And then we'll be going back into the repeat section, which you already learned. And then you'll be almost about 3/4 of the way through the form. So today's lesson will be more about this sequential order of the movements because you already will be familiar with the section single whip, wave hand like clouds, single whip, and that's what we're learning today. In learning a form, there's many different aspects in learning. One is just learning the new move, and then one is learning the move but being able to perform it as it was taught. And sometimes because of the physical aspects of it, it's difficult to perform. Other times it's just more the technical aspect and understanding what you're doing. And also the other aspect is the sequential order. And in practicing the sequential order, a good way to practice sequential order is just out of the blue rather than kind of when you go and do your practice in the morning and you have a set routine, then you're in the mode. But to try to mix up your mind so that you have to understand the sequential order much more deeply is a good way to do it. And so one of the good tricks is to, throughout the day, just pick a section of the form and just try to remember the sequential movements. You don't have to do the movements to the full extent. Just remember the order in which the moves are. And then maybe another day, pick another section of the form. The reason why I'm breaking up the form into sections, which Sifu never did, again, is I found that it's easier to remember the movements if you can kind of mentally project where you are in the form instead of just kind of a chronological order of the movements, from 1 to 64 is fairly more difficult. And again, when I taught the repeat section, here's the reward. When we get through going to cock stands on one leg, you'll be in the repeat section. You do that whole section. Hopefully practice that section by itself, and it just be, you can insert it. As well, in the video where I talked about classification of different movements, and I talked about movements that are repeated, and then movements that are singular and individual, and also sections of the movements. And I mentioned single whip, wave hand like clouds, and single whip. And again, this little section of movements is repeated throughout the form. And you'll see as we get into after the next few lessons, when we go back and forth into the last few movements, that section will be repeated over and over. And so again, this will be the second time that you're doing this section, single whip, wave hand like clouds, and single whip. So let's take it from where we did last time. I'll take it from the diagonal whip, partition the wild horse's mane into diagonal whip. Fair Lady works the shadows, step into the second variation of grass bird's tail. Remember in the classification of movements, I said sometimes a move is repeated but done a little differently. That's the case with second variation, step up, grass bird's tail. And then you have single whip, cloud hand, single whip, which is a section that's repeated over and over. Okay, so we take it from there. So we'll start from the first diagonal single whip. Come back into position for partition the wild horse's mane. We'll end on the right side, turn on the diagonal, and the second diagonal single whip on the line. Now we go into Fair Lady Works the Shadows, turn in. This is the 3/4 turn, step up, the quarter turn, again the 3/4 turn, quarter turn. Here's where we step up into Grass Bird's Tail, second variation, step up. And this will be the beginning of this lesson. From here, the transition is into single whip. Come back for wave hand like clouds. And on the right side, transition to single whip. So this is where we're going to end the lesson on this move here, so that next lesson we can go into single whip drops down, and then golden cock stands on one leg, and we'll go all the way through the repeat section to fan through arm. So again, from here, all you're doing is just repeating that section of single whip, wave hand like cloud, single whip. So I'll do it one more time. We'll start from diagonal single whip, come back for partition the wild horse's mane, 1, and on the right side, 2, turn, second, diagonal whip, Fair Lady Works at Shadows, step up into Grass Bird's Tail, step up, okay, here, turn, single whip, come back, wave hand like clouds, so again, in single whip, wave hand like clouds, you can do as many wave hand like clouds as you want to fit the space. If, for this lesson, you can do it all the way to the end, but you're going to have to allow room for golden cock stands on one leg, and however many you want to do. So usually you'll end your single whip about midway in the center, so you have room for that coming back. I'll do the lesson that we're learning today in the opposite direction so you can get a better view of the movement. Again, we're doing it 180 degrees because normally my back would be towards you for all the movements, so I'm facing the opposite direction. So we would do from here. The diagonal again is this way, and normally we'd be doing diagonal whip in this direction. So 180 degrees on the diagonal. We'll be doing diagonal whip, diagonal single whip on across the line, and come back for partition of the wild horse's mane. And then diagonal whip on the diagonal line. Fair Lady works at shadows. Step up, grass bird's tail. Second variation, stepping up. And here's what the lesson for today. Transition single whip. You notice I turn my foot and then single whip. Wave hand like clouds. And then single whip. So that'll be the lesson for today. Also, I think I'm gonna, in this second section of this video, I'll do a presentation of the entire diagonal whip section. So if you want to stick around for that, take a break and then we'll come back. So in this section, I want to go through the entire diagonal whip section. Let's review the entire form. In the beginning, you have the beginning opening section. And in the beginning opening section, there's only like grouse bird tails on a diagonal, but then you're going back 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, back and forth, 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, as you do the pulse monkey. And then we get to where we do the repeat section, and the repeat section is always from repulse monkey. Just remember that. And it goes through the section of, you know, repulse monkey, slow palm, slanting flying, raise left hand, raise right hand, turn around, and fan through arm. So those 4 or 5 moves to fan through arm is the repeat section. And then we got from there, green dragon dropping water was the beginning of the diagonal section. So that's where we'll take it, and I want to do a quick review of the entire diagonal section, what we've been going through for the last few weeks. So, okay. So fan through arm is always going to be that traditional move from where you go. At the end, from when you, after you do the repeat section, then you go into the fifth through sky cannon and those movements there. But in this first diagonal section, from fan through arm, you go into green dragon dropping water. Pull back, and then you're going to do, this is the first single whip, wave hand like clouds. And then single whip. High pat on horse. Step up. Separation of the right foot. Separation of the left foot. Turn around. Now you're doing wind blowing lotus leaf. Finger block up with punch. Turn around. Double jump kick into parry and punch. Step back, hands beside body. Left foot kicks up. Turn around. Kick with soul. Step into parry and punch. Pull back. then turn or chop opponent with fists. And then this is where we go into diagonal whip. Partition the wild horse's mane. Turn into diagonal whip on the line. Fair lady works at shadows. Step up into grass bird's tail. Step up variation. And then single whip, as we learn in today's lesson. Cloud wave hand like clouds. So that's where we're ending. So that'll give you a good idea of this whole last diagonal section that we've learned. And then we go into golden cock sands on one leg and then a repeat section. And then you only have the ending section to learn, and then you'll be complete the lessons for the Guan Ping Tai Chi form. So, okay, thank you.